Here we go.
Oh.
Hello, cruel world, and welcome to another masculine mind-melting, Hercules heroically trying to hurt He-Man, never going to neglectfully and knowingly leave a man behind. Uncle Gary recently got gainful employment at the local Gainesville Psych Hospital as a geriatric gynecologist. Episode of the Days Grimm. My name is Brian Michael Day.
My name is Thomas Grimm. You doing all right? God bless you.
I'm always all right, baby. I'm always all right. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. I was worried about you with that, whatever the fuck that was before your name.
No, it's just a little bit of COVID.
Yeah. Everybody loves a little bit of COVID. COVID's like gone now.
Just a little bit of COVID. A little COVID-19, you know? Oh, dude.
The COVID-23.
Yeah,
whatever it is now.
Dude, I'm fucking through the roof, bro. I did 3 miles today in I got my race shoes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man, I got the shoes for the race. I'm
breaking them in.
Brutal. Fucking brutal. Not great for 2 reasons, man. Brooks's, so that's what I'm going to race in. Do you wear Brooks?
Yeah.
So, like, when you bought yours, do you remember how stiff the front of the shoe is?
Oh, yeah.
Like the toe,
yeah,
if you will.
Not a lot of bend.
And you will, because I'm saying that you will. I never understood that. Why do people always say, if you will? You know what I mean? Like, you've already said what you're going to say. Like, it doesn't matter if I allow it or not. You've already said it.
Right. Old phrases, man.
Dude, like, the old English, I never understood that. But anyways, the toe, if you will, and you will. It breaks in rough. Right? Yeah. Like, you get hot spots all on your fucking toes and shit. Dude, and it always takes me like 20 miles to get them fucking nice and broke in. It's just fucking annoying, man. But yeah, that's what I got going on today.
If you had a kid, would you name him Charlie Mike?
That's dope. Charlie Mike Day?
Yeah.
I like that, dude. Why have I never thought about that?
I don't know. I was just thinking about that today.
Also, how do you even know what Charlie Mike means?
Have I say it all the time?
Have I explained that to you before? I have?
Yeah. It means continue mission, right?
Yeah, continue mission. Like, fucking
carry on.
Move the fuck on, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Hit him with that intro.
Joining us this week in the Days Grimm shoebox is
fucking nobody.
Brian Michael Day and Thomas Grimm.
What's up, bro? Let's try to stick to the timeline today, okay?
So, Brian, what was high school like for you?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Thomas. I've been drinking today, so I'm on the sauce. Dude, I am though, man. I've been sipping on that scissor before you got here. Dude.
Yeah, throwing them back.
I'm on whiskey number 2, beer
throwing
number 2.
Backs out.
Yeah, bro. We don't have a guest this week, dude.
That's why we're wearing blinders, so you guys can't see the tears.
Yeah, man. The guests that we had lined up today, dude, they got fucking, what was it, gonorrhea or something? They had to go get checked out.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, dude. I honestly, and I kind of like the sunglasses, even though I wish I could see your eyes right now.
Yeah,
because they're so beautiful.
Thanks.
But, yeah. So no guests this week, dude. But yeah, who did we have last week? Fuck, dude. Who did we have? Who was dude?
Shit.
I know, dude.
Damn.
Fucking, here comes the fucking autism.
So many.
Zach Berenson, I think.
Yeah, Zach Berenson.
Yeah, Zach crushed it. Part 2. So get in there and check it out. He stayed fully clothed.
Yeah.
During this episode, and I don't think we talked about drugs at all.
No, not really. Not that I recall.
Me. Yeah, that was a shocker, honestly.
Yeah.
So what do you want to talk this week, dude?
I think we're going to talk mental health, aren't we? I believe along those lines. You want to talk about men's mental health, but I think both genders really can apply. And like whatever we talk about will also apply to the female, like on ways to help with it.
You know, absolutely. Coping is key, dude. Coping is key, honestly. And we're going to put some links in the description on like some places you can go and, you know, and find the help that you need, to have somebody that'll listen to you. Because honestly, dude, like that's the key. So like, I joked around in the intro a little bit about like the masculine mind melting, Hercules heroically trying to hurt He-Man. These are like obviously iconic, strong male figures, and that's just what the male is supposed to be, is like strong.
Yeah, that's what we're taught.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're tough, dude. Hold it together. Suck it up, pussy. You know what I'm saying, dude?
Right.
But like, that's not that. That is the case. Like, we are obviously stronger than women. So like physically, we're made to like keep shit together. So that makes sense, right? Physically. But like mentally, we are just as weak, if not more weak, due to, I think, the duress and the stress.
The pressure.
Yeah, the pressure that comes from like, hey, you know, don't be a fucking quitter. Keep it together, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
But that's probably why we don't bleed once a month, you know?
Yeah, honestly, because if I had a fucking period, dude, I would have
offed myself years ago.
Suicide's not funny, dude, but I don't know that I would be here today.
Right, exactly.
The fact that
we're talking about men's mental health and we already made a joke about it.
About suicide. I'm not laughing at killing myself, although that thought has popped in my head several times. But like, yeah, bro, I'm laughing at the just the pure. Could you imagine a dude fucking menstruating?
Yeah, I don't know.
He would fucking fall apart, bro. He would fall apart, dude. He would fucking die. He would think
I
he's
just picture this dude in like...
I got a cold once, and I was like, babe, I don't know if I'm going to make it.
I picture this dude in like your bubble bath jacuzzi with like a bush of light and just like... Or a glass of whiskey.
Yeah, dude. Cheers. Cheers to the whiskey drinkers out there. Also, I'm on this new riff. I don't know that I've covered that bottle yet since I've opened it. So fucking smooth. Honestly, if you get a wild hair up your ass sometime in the next hour and you want to try it, I highly suggest.
I'll take a glass or a shot.
You want to try it?
Yeah.
Give me your glass. I'll give you a baby. I won't give you what I got.
That's fine. But yeah, so basically, I would say like growing up over the years, you know, like my parents divorced when I was little, and then like my mom worked 2 jobs, went to night school, and you know, like my dad was in and out for a while. But I was like had my grandparents around, and you know, you kind of grow up and like you move from place to place, you know, and then get to like Indianapolis, where like I've mentioned in some previous episodes with like you know, we talked about like well, before we get on T Harriman, we were talking about with like Freeze, Mr. Freeze. And like when you move from place to place, you kind of feel like an outsider or whatever. So, you know, like moving from here to Indy, and then it's like nobody wants to fuck with you through elementary school because you're a new kid, you're a transplant, you're like thrown in the middle,
you're
you know?
a fucking weirdo, dude.
Yeah, and I was pretty weird then. And
you've been weird the whole time.
Yeah.
It's never gotten better for you.
I came out and the doctor was like, yo, this baby's weird.
Fucking smells funny, dude.
Yeah, you know, he picked me up and put me to the side. Thought it was the placenta, you know?
Yeah, dude. They're like, is this the bag? Is this the whole thing? Is there another one in there?
Yeah.
God, dude.
But no, like you feel like a transplant or whatever, and you don't really feel like you fit in, you know, until like, you know, you get to like middle school, and then you're trying to fit in, and then you're like in with people that like you probably shouldn't be in with, you know, and then like you go through, for me anyways, you know, you go through high school and you get that like grouping, but then like, you know, home life isn't that great or anything, you know, or like there's issues there. So then like I moved down here, and then you get free range, you know, and you get to do whatever the fuck you want.
Just wilding out.
Right. But this whole time, nobody's taught you, you know what I mean? By the time you get out of high school, nobody's taught you anything about mental health.
No, and they don't really give a shit, dude. That's my biggest bone that I have to pick with just society as a whole, is that like, fuck, right?
That's pretty good.
That's dicey. That's a slippery slope, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if you like whiskey.
That's a Sunday going sideways fast. Dude, I can't. We're not fucking. This isn't a sponsor, but I gotta fucking say who it is. New Riff, man. Like,
yeah.
Honest to God, a buddy of mine turned me on to it.
You know what I think it tastes like? It tastes like salami on cheese.
Salami and bacon. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah. L'chaim.
L'chaim. For the Jewish listeners out there, check it out though, for real. If you got $50 burning a hole in your pocket and you're a bourbon drinker or a whiskey drinker, give New Riff a shot, man. They're dope. They're sick. Super smooth and really, really dangerous. That being said, that's what pisses me off about society, is that like you're kind of like it's. I feel like it's gotten better as far as like the roles. Like now, like fuck, dude, we got a girl playing receiver for a college team in football.
Right.
In CAA
what I wanted
football.
to say too is so they don't teach you anything about mental health growing up.
Yeah. It's,
like all throughout the school system. And I think honestly, like the first time that I ever took like a full bottle of pills to try to like off myself was in like high school.
yeah.
And they don't teach you anything about mental health. You know what I mean?
No.
They don't teach you anything about it, or even be like, hey, like they don't teach you depression in health class.
Mm-mm. No, I don't give a shit.
And it's like they teach you about everything else. And you should probably teach us about, feelings and like I don't know, coping mechanisms might be, nice other than just like homework or like
Just
why is this kid struggling? Well,
like,
maybe it might be, a mental health thing.
like a heads up that so like when I was in high school, the biggest thing that got me, see, you're on it, dude. You're liking it. It's so smooth.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's so smooth. And let that ice melt just a little bit before you go for another one.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that got me in high school was like, dude, if somebody would just gave me a heads up that some women in this world can be whores, that would have been enough for me. Like, just to know ahead of time. Like, I just thought, like, I had this, like, male, female connect. Like, I knew that, like, a guy was supposed to be with a girl because that's what was drilled into my head.
Right.
From my parents and my grandparents and et cetera, just from, like, the fucking, the standard that had been set years before. Not saying I agree with that. But that's what in my head, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to marry a woman one day and, have a wife and et cetera. But if like somebody could have just been like, hey, heads up, there's going to be a girl out there that can take 3 dicks at the same time, would have been nice to know. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
bro? Because that would have saved me a lot of fucking heartache.
See, there were some people
but that's where a lot of my...
Right, there's people that want to cover same sex in health class, which I think it should be covered.
Oh, that's horseshit. It should be, absolutely.
Exactly. I mean, lesbians should have sex education as well as gay, and they should all learn it in the same class. That way you don't get the misunderstanding from...
Just so we're clear, lesbians are gay. You made it sound like
right,
lesbians are
you're right. My bad. But you should have
retarded.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you should have sex education for like strap-ons and scissoring versus like lube and cleaning.
My whole bit with like the dude on dude thing, man, is like that's the prime contributor to like the AIDS spreading or whatever. It's like but being safe about it, you know what I'm saying, like promoting condom usage with some dude on dude shit would be nice. Like you got to let these folks know, like, hey, like
Jake knew he wore a condom.
Yeah, he was ready for me.
Right,
and I was ready for him.
Thoughtful.
Spit on it. That being said, if you're gonna do some dude on dude stuff, man, you just gotta, obviously you're aware of the risk or whatever. But that is the prime.
But they make precautions and stuff that you should get made aware of in school.
And I bet they don't talk about that pill. Have you heard about that pill now?
Yeah.
Isn't that gnarly?
Yeah,
it's like birth control, but for like AIDS.
Yeah.
Like you can take, and if you're not aware, if you're listening or watching and you're not aware of what I'm talking about, there's a pill out there now that a dude can take if he knows.
Or chick.
Yeah. Or no. Well, yeah, I guess it might work for women.
It works for both.
I think when I was told about I was in school at U of E in a class and they told us about it. But yeah, I know for sure it works with males. I don't know about females, but, for sure the dude can basically take this pill. If he knows
some dick,
before he takes the dick, if he knows he's at a high risk of, HIV AIDS
exposure.
Yeah. Exposure. So if he knows that he's in that lifestyle or whatever, he's on the wiener train, if you will. And you will.
The bologna train.
Yeah, if he's slinging the meats, you know what I'm saying? If he's the Arby's and there's other dudes stopping through the drive-through, aka his butthole, you know what I'm saying? Like you need to check this pill out because essentially what happens is if he's at high exposure, he can take this pill, and then the pill will give him 99.9%. It may be 99 point something efficacy to prevent the acceptance of HIV into the body. So like it'll never even develop. So he could literally have sex with a dude, or a dude could have sex with him that has HIV or AIDS, and him not get it because he's on
Right.
that pill. And it's a great thing. I think it's like a once a month deal.
But I'm just saying
I wish
that,
I could remember the name of it.
The school system,
But
I
they don't
think,
teach
is,
you that.
Yeah, they don't. They're
fucking
failing. They're failing in health class.
Yeah. Oh, the school system's failing in general, but that's a topic for a different day. But like, yeah, dude, like I guarantee
That's a topic for Amy Ward to have on since she's on the school board.
100%.
And just how difficult
I
it
asked
is.
her that.
Well, how difficult it is to make changes.
Didn't I ask
Should
her
be
that?
a question.
I asked her, do you think we're failing our children?
Well,
I don't remember what she said.
Yeah. But I think she said it starts in generations and through communities and community programs and things along those lines, if I do recall.
I dropped an ice cube in my beard.
Nice.
But
I was going to say, just like, the first time that, I didn't even have an understanding of the world. You know what I mean? Like, the world was still so small and yet too much then. You know what I mean? And it was like, maybe if either teachers were paying more attention or whatever, but I could have been one of countless teenage suicides for
shit, bro.
No reason, not even for drug use. You know what I mean? Not an overdose, but like a purposeful.
Dude, we're
just because they don't.
I almost forgot our fucking.
Death of the week.
Yeah, dude, we're like balls deep in the fucking school system and dude on dude action, and we're not even fucking talking about dudes dying.
Right.
So I guess without further ado, this week's Death of the Week brought to you by Corn Dog Development. For all your prostitution needs. No, I'm just kidding. These super sick coasters we show off all the time. He's not into the extradition of the human body, just so we're clear. They're super sick, multi-wood. They have a nice oil finish on them. Spill shit on it, comes right off, never stains. Check them out. Link in the description. That's Corn Dog Development on Etsy. This week's Death of the Week. If I can find it. Thomas, what'd we do with it?
I sent it to you in Messenger.
I got it pulled up. Here we go. This week's Death of the Week. In Eastern Roman Empire, Emperor Marcian succeeded Theodosius II and stopped paying tribute to the Huns. Attila withdrew from Italy to his Attila withdrew from Italy to his palace across the Danube while making plans to strike Constantinople once more to reclaim tribute. However, he died early. He died in the early months of 453 AD. The conventional account from Permiscus says that Attila, is that how, am I saying it
Attila.
right? Attila. Oh yeah, there's no extra
Attila
I.
the Hun.
Attila was at a feast celebrating his latest marriage, this time to the beautiful Indico. The name suggests Gothic or Ostrogoth origins. In the midst of the revels, however, he suffered severe bleeding and died. That doesn't...
So he got a nosebleed and drowned in his own blood.
He may have had a nosebleed and choked to death in a stupor. Okay, here we go. Couple of things here, dude. If you're ever drinking so much that you get a fucking nosebleed and you can't fucking hack it anymore, bro, maybe you should fucking...
Yeah, I don't know. That's got to be a sight.
Maybe it's best that you fucking go down.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't also the smartest in 450 AD, but
also, damn. I feel pretty not smart for saying his name Attila.
Do you think
a couple of times.
Do you think the people that Attila was invading thought it was the end of the world?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know much about the Huns.
They conquered almost all of Asia and into Europe.
Well, good for them.
Yeah, had like a giant empire. Just on fucking gangbanging people.
I never really cared much for Asia. Not the people are fine. I love Asian people. Just the
culture though.
The continent itself.
You had Genghis Khan and then you had Attila the Hun.
I'll put this light on.
I mean, between the both of them, and how like they both conquered a vast area of that time. But I mean, Genghis Khan like raped everything that walked. So
yeah, didn't they say that like
every person has
30% of the human population has some form of direct,
like lineage to Genghis Khan.
yeah, and that's not even accounting for like
your dog.
Snoop.
We gotta do a blood sample test on him to Genghis Khan running through that DNA.
We gotta check that dick.
Oh,
Snoop
man.
looks like the kind of dog that, going back to what we were talking about, Snoop is the kind of dog that would get down on some dick on dick, though, for real.
Snoop's so old right now, I think he'd fuck anything, just like any old dude.
I don't think he sees good, though. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
That's my 13-year-old.
Did you hear
Beagle
about that old guy that escaped, like the old people retirement area?
You mean the home?
Yeah, the nursing home here in town.
Old people retirement area.
Dude, he has dementia, so he in his like ward, they like have all the windows bolted shut, and they were doing maintenance, and the maintenance guy took out a handful of bolts and forgot to put them back in. And this dude's a Vietnam vet with dementia, and he got out through the window and then rigged somebody's car and drove off and went all through town missing for like 6-8 hours. But they had like police out looking for him and everything.
Dude, okay. Couple of issues with that. That was in a old folks home?
Yeah.
What do you think the crazy... Okay, so first off, I believe that story because old people are wild cards. You can't trust them.
Especially some old Vietnam vet with dementia.
Dude, I went to a restaurant one time. Racism warning, heads up. Went to a restaurant one time with my grandpa who served in Vietnam, R.I.P. He's actually my great uncle, R.I.P. Uncle Melvin. You crushed it. And we were at a restaurant, and he was like, this Hispanic fella came over and was like waiting our table or whatever, and he was like, "What can I get y'all to drink?" And I was like, "I'll just have, I don't think I drank beer in front of my uncle. I think I said I'll have a Coke or something." And he was like, "Oh, get me a Stroh's or whatever old dudes drink. I don't fucking know.
Right.
Some old man beer." He was like, "Give me a Pabst Blue Ribbon." And the guy's like, "Okay, got you." He spoke perfectly fine English. Right. He was obviously fucking like
born here,
super born here,
right?
Super not transplanted. You know what I'm saying? He's legal as shit. Guy walks away and he was like, "I don't know what the fuck Juan's problem is," and I was like, "That's not his fucking name."
But yeah, man, old people let stuff fly. My great grandma is like she's like 93, talking about how she wants a sugar daddy in her nursing home.
I got a 80-year-old grandma who's still banging single dudes.
Getting it.
Grandma Beezer, dude. She's out there slinging it, playing those slot machines out in Vegas. Once a month she goes to Vegas. She's got a convertible GT Mustang.
You think she's buying male prostitutes?
For sure. She's getting dick down on the reg.
Nice. Go
nice. Granny Beezer, dude.
Right.
Shout out to Corey, dude. You know who I'm talking about.
Is her furniture saran wrapped?
For all the right reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. So like, I don't know what
when do you think you first had some mental funk? Do you think it was after the military, or did you experience it before the military?
For sure before. But like severe enough that it could be like detrimental to my health.
Right.
Post-military, for sure.
And that's another thing too, is I want to talk about like these older military dudes also who aren't getting necessarily the mental help, because there was a guy when I went to Brentwood. So like to expand on my story.
No. Explain what Brentwood is.
I know, but I'll get there. So like, you get out of high school, whatever, go down here, and then like a bunch of bad stuff happens. Like my child's mother and I separate, and like I have that tumor on my nuts that has to get removed.
The one nut.
Yeah, and that all gets removed and stuff, and I just go crazy. Just doing whatever I want, whatever. And I start getting these phases of like not being able to sleep for long periods of time without drug.
Can I ask if like when you went ape shit and were just doing whatever you want, whenever you want, do you think that was like an existentialistic freak the fuck out type thing? Like I can go at any moment, so I'm going to have fun while I'm here type thing?
I think so. And then like, especially with like a lot of the ways I view certain things. So like to me, money.
What certain things?
Like money. Money is something I've never had a lot of. But I feel like it's something that you can mine. Like if you need more, you can go mow somebody's grass. Or, like to do money, you literally only got to put in like 30 minutes worth of work in order to get $20.
Well, you don't have to. Well, just so we're clear, you don't do money.
Right.
That's what you said.
You make it.
In order to do money. Yeah.
I'm just saying like all you have to do in order to gain it is like
Effort.
chore or a period
Effort.
of time. Yeah, time is money. And so, like, literally, you just got to burn some time in order to get some money. But yeah, I was just going hog wild, man. Just not even thinking about the future. Not even like there was just now.
I think so. Like I had a little bit of. So I made that joke earlier about women being whores, which they totally fucking can. Just for the record, just like dudes can be whores too.
Yeah.
It's totally possible. It's in the human condition to just want to be wanted. So like some people bite into that more than others, and they just want to be wanted by more and more people, and one is never enough. So like those people. But like that's where my first like I think falling apart stage was like mentally.
Yeah, you got your heart broken.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was woman based, 100%. Like because I was pretty fragile pre-army. Like
Right.
I was pretty fragile. Like emotionally, I was like I explained before, I was like, yeah, a guy with a girl with a guy, they get married and happily ever after. You have kids, whatever.
Right.
And then that's where I was at in my head, my mental headspace.
And you hear about from like your grandparents' generation, who we were around a lot because our parents were working.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of, oh, we got married at 17.
Yeah, it's not 1920 anymore though.
Right, but you hear that and you're like, all right, right after high school, I'm gonna either go to college or I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna get a house, a car, a girl. You think you're gonna get it all, and
lickety split,
yeah.
And that's not the case, my guy. The it's not the 20s anymore, man. They didn't have TikTok in the 20s, man. They didn't have these dudes slinging those fucking monster fucking schlongs in their sweatpants doing weird dances on TikTok and women shaking their huge titties around. That's another thing. They didn't have fake titties back then.
They didn't
either.
have yoga pants.
God damn, there's like so much of a reason for us to
Could you imagine how many more boomers there would be if there were yoga pants back then?
Or fake titties?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. When do you think the first fake titty was made?
I don't know.
That's a conversation that we'll have in private.
Right. But I was going to say, so like after I was going like crazy wild. Yeah, and I hit these periods with like non-drug induced of like staying awake for like 2 days at a time, 3 days at a time. I'd lay down in bed, couldn't sleep. I'd like go grab my longboard, go longboard through downtown for 3 hours back to where I was, lay down, not be able to sleep, go work a 12-hour shift, come back home, rinse, repeat. But I went through these things, and then like one night I just wanted to sleep. It had been like two and a half days. Couldn't
couple
sleep.
days since you took a
Yeah,
nap.
man. And like we all know I smoke, so like, that should put me out.
For sure.
Especially after like 2.5 days. But I just couldn't sleep. So I took like a like half bottle of sleeping pills, enough to basically overdose. At that point, I didn't care. But I remember like peeing and being like, fuck, like feeling all funny, like I'm going to pass out or whatever. I'd be like, I don't want to die. Like it was like that moment. And I feel like a lot of people get there, like when they're on the edge. You know what I mean? Like when they get to the edge and then like, not even maybe like a gun may be different because I don't know how much time you have to think after that. But like if you take, you take something or whatever, or like you feel that moment beforehand and you're like, I don't know if I want to do this. You know what I mean? Like I guarantee you, probably half the people that jump off a bridge before they hit the water realize that they didn't want to die.
Yeah, man. And like, I'd be lying if I sat here and said I didn't have a loaded gun in my hand one time. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get to that point to where like, but like you really do gotta.
But at this point in time, I do want to say like, I do have a concealed carry and I have a Kimber 1911 and I gave it to my dad. You know what I mean? I took that mental precaution of like, hey, like I'm not in the right headspace.
That's a beautiful firearm, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. And I put a lot of work into it with custom rosewood grips and got the slides sent off and got etching to match the grips and everything.
Yeah.
But like I took the mental precaution of like, hey, I'm not right now. Like I'm gonna take the gun out of my house and give it to somebody else to hold on to.
Yeah.
But needless to say, I was going to therapy at the time, and because that happened, they sent me to Brentwood. Brentwood is like a mental hospital that you can check into for a week, and then after a week, I did like 2 weeks outpatient therapy or whatever that they have programs where you can go like every day and like sit in therapy for like 6 hours and like work through things. But there, you learn some coping mechanisms or whatever. But there, I heard a story of a guy that had been in the war and had a good buddy that served with him, and they'd been like pen pals, communicating all the time or whatever.
Like World War II, like the war?
Like probably Vietnam, since he was like kind of younger.
People say the war, they're usually referring to World War II, normally. Okay. So he was in Vietnam.
Yeah. And one of the guys that he went with, that he was still close with and stayed in touch with after the military, died. And this guy had tried to hang himself. And he, like, with an extension cord. And he still had, like, the burn marks in it.
Checks out.
Or whatever. But I was going to say, like, it's sad, you know, even for these military dudes. Like, I don't have any military experience. Like, I never saw dead bodies or anything along those lines.
It's enough to do it to you.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying I went through these experiences and nobody taught you how to cope with it. And then, you know, you get to 23 years old and, you know, you haven't learned these processes.
Old Coke Nails decided to join us.
Right. Smelling me, old Snoopy.
Old man. Hey, you
getting that love. He smells that puppy.
Dude, no, he smells like two dudes fucking in a dumpster.
Well, his eyesight's going out, so his smell's got to increase, right?
No, I mean like how he smells physically. He stinks.
Oh.
Yeah, man, the military will do it to you for sure. Like I've never, so then like pre-military, like having my heart broken was the biggest thing that ever happened to me. And then like I just remember being like torn up and angsty about it. I actually joined an emo band shortly after, or like helped start one. But like it was driven a lot by that. Like those problems I was having with like women, I was like not the kind of guy that like took dating casually and lightly, like lightheartedly, like I should have, like we do now. You know what I mean? Like, or I'm married and you're basically married, but like what I'm saying is that like you don't think of it as like a casual thing, or at least I wasn't. And like I was taking it way too serious and getting heartbroken, and that was like my first like sign of like mental weakness. I'm like, what the fuck is going? Like literally like crying. You know, but you're embarrassed, so like you just like cry in your room, and then like mom comes in, you're like, no, I wasn't crying, I was watching like fucking, I was watching. I was
eating ghost peppers, mom.
Yeah, dude, I was fucking masturbating. Leave me alone. But yeah, so like that was like the first sign that like okay, like I could be like you know, predisposition to be like affected by things mentally. And I think that's another thing. I think it really is, there's like a genetic disposition. I think some people are just mentally their mental fortitude is just like tougher than others, like whether it be emotionally or like mentally in all aspects, whether we're talking relationships or like stress or anger or whatever it may be. I think some people are just tougher in general, like mentally. But like, so then that being said, I think I kept my mental disposition all the way through the military. Like I had that with me, that never went away, but what went away was like how often I showed it and how I showed it.
Right.
Because then once I got into the military, like I'd be lying if I said I didn't like cry a couple of times in the army, but it happened a lot less. Like I cried a lot less. And then like that, you know what I mean? And it was over like really big shit. It wasn't over like getting your heart broken over Stephanie or something because she didn't want to go to prom with you. It was because your best friend had just gotten shot in the fucking head.
And I feel like there's times where I experience something, like when I experience it for the first time, I think it hits me a lot harder the first time, but then like the second time I experience it, it doesn't hit me as hard. So like I remember going to my great grandfather's funeral and crying the whole time as a kid, and I don't think I've cried at a funeral since. Like it just doesn't, like I remember looking around and seeing people cry in like high school and being like, is something wrong with me? Like, you know, why are all these people crying? And I'm just,
yeah, like you're like is inept the right word? I don't know. Like, okay, so I have the same issue in that when I go to a funeral, I like, it could be my fucking, I hesitate to say my mom because A, I don't want her to die, and B, I'm not really sure, but like,
yeah, like I used to think I wouldn't cry at my grandparents' funeral, and now that like my grandpa's starting to lose it, I'm starting to think that I probably would lose my shit when he passed away.
I don't know, man. Like, I still tear up when I think about like on that flag to your right, Loaiza and Vacarena, more specifically Loaiza, and that's why I wear my bracelet on my left hand all the time, every day I wake up, every waking moment. And then actually by the time this episode airs, I will have already celebrated his death memorial. What do you call it when somebody dies? Their
celebration of life?
No, like his
mourning?
Like the day he died.
Yeah, I don't know.
The day he died was the 25th. Ironically, was around Memorial Day weekend. So every Memorial Day weekend, his day that he died is right around then, and I always think about him. And then I go to the bar, and not for the reason you guys think, I don't have a fucking problem, dude. But I go to the bar. He drank Bud Light all the time, like it was fucking water.
Right.
Fucking Cholo Dolo, dude. He was born and raised in El Paso, and he would just fucking drink Bud Light like it was fucking
water.
Yeah, dude, like it was Gatorade, just slinging it back, better than water. You know what I mean? So I go to the bar on the 25th of May every year for the last, this would be 10 years, the one that I just celebrated by the time this airs. I go to the bar, I have myself a Busch Light because I'm classy, and then I order a Budweiser in the empty seat next to me, and then I take my bracelet off, and then I hang it on his Bud Light like so.
Right.
And then I have my beer. I just take the time to mentally reflect and like just think about him, think about his tiny hands that he had and these little baby hands.
Yeah.
Like when you order a tall beer, like in a mug,
they would have fit in those mittens that you were talking about.
Yeah, 100%. And then like his hands he had to do like two hands for the mugs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was like the guy from the like Big Mac commercial where he was like,
yeah, they would have loved his hands.
And his tiny hands. We always gave him shit about that. And then I would just take that time to like
type of buddy that you wanted him to hold your dick for your dick pics to make it look that much bigger.
100%. And they're like, also, why are your hands Hispanic but your dick is
right.
Caucasian? And I'm like, don't worry about it.
Dick's tan year round.
He's a good.
Do you feel like your dick's tanner than the rest of your body?
100%.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It never gets.
Right.
It never gets
any sunlight.
Most blood flow, I guess. There's correlation, no causation. But yeah, and then I take that time to like mentally reflect, and then I leave that beer there. And I don't talk to the bartender. I don't say, "Hey, keep this."
Right.
My hope is that somebody will see it when I leave and be like, "Well, what the fuck was there a full beer here?" And then also what's hanging out of it. And then my hope.
You leave your bracelet there the whole night?
I leave the bracelet there. I essentially throw this away. I get a new one every year.
Really?
Yeah, I've ordered my second one already for this year.
Is that from like a specific website?
You can look at it.
Well, I was going to say, you just do the show and tell.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess we could. That's actually a good idea. This is so weird being like the individual being interrogated. So this week's show and tell brought to you by...
Robert Lueza.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, like we were talking about, man, it fucking still kind of chokes me up when I talk about it to strangers. I don't like to talk about it very
but
often.
show it to the camera.
Yeah. So basically, the whole story I just gave you, and then I order his Bud Light, leave it at the bar, and then hanging out of the Bud Light is this memoriam bracelet that you probably see a lot of military guys wear, and a lot of guys wear them for the wrong reason. I'll go ahead and preface this with that. They wear them for guys that maybe died in their battalion or something. But what winds up happening is it almost is like a staple of the military to have one of these on your arm. And what the problem with that is that like they may have not known the person personally. You know what I mean? A lot of guys just wear it because they want to feel cool. That they want to. I was in the army. Here's
like that patch that you
this
get
guy.
on there.
This guy in my brigade, which is like 1,000 people big. You know what I mean? Yeah, this guy in my brigade got blown up by an RPG, and I just read his death certificate, basically. Or whatever. And I'm not dogging on military guys. Like, thank you for serving, but like. The point I'm trying to make is like my bracelet that I wear every day means so much more to me than probably most military guys, because like Loaiza and I and his family and we like knew each other. We were tight. Right. We were close as you and I.
Right.
It would be like you getting blown up. And then that's how close I am to the guy.
And you wear it
every
364 days a year, and then you take it off on that one day and leave it on the beer.
And I go home and I put my new one on for the year.
Right.
Every year for the last 10 years, man.
And that I will show this because I showed it in Garageland as well, and I'll show it, in this segment of the video. But this is the memorabilia piece that we have in the studio.
Yeah, and go and I'll read it for you. If you can't read it, it's too far away, maybe. And it's kind of a heavy piece too. Only the dead have seen the end of war. And that's a quote by Plato. And then below there are the two gentlemen's names that passed away from my company, which was 115 people strong. Out of the 115 guys I deployed with, we only lost two. One is Joufred Vaccareno, December 13, 2011. And then later the next year, in May 25th, Robert Loaiza, 2012.
Yeah, so that was the show and tell brought to you by some fallen soldiers.
Yeah, man, and I'll tell you what, dude, that's the shit that's when I really, like, my susceptibility to mental weakness really came into play, because I talked to a lot of the guys that I've deployed with, and I'm not the only one. There are other guys in my company that I deployed with that have experienced the same thing when they think about Loaiza and Vaccareno. But, like, they get teary-eyed and they kind of get choked up. But, like, to me, it's, like, more than that. Like, I, like, almost fall apart if I think about it too much.
Right. But it's also, I mean, since we started the show, well, one, you've always had this hanging in your living room or wherever.
Somewhere.
But since we started the show, one, you get to see it. But two, I think we bring it up every now and then. And I think just by talking about certain things, like, that's one coping mechanism, is just to get it out there. And 100%. I feel like that's one thing that, like, your generation of veterans, like we talked about with Jake, that you guys talk a bit more about it than some Vietnam vets.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not comparing the war in Afghanistan to Vietnam by any stretch of the means, because we lost 20, 30, 40, 50,000. I don't know what the stats, but, like, we lost a shitload of soldiers in Vietnam over the course of 11 years.
The population was way less.
It dropped. Like, we lost a lot of good girls and guys in Vietnam, and it was such a detrimental
crazy
loss
war too
to the Army. The Navy, everyone, like, we lost soldiers across the board. So I would never, in a way, compare the two, just because of the loss of life was so much greater in Vietnam than it was compared to Afghanistan. But what I will compare is that, it just being, or at least where I was deployed, again, just where I was deployed, it was very in your face, a lot like Vietnam. Like, when you saw when someone got fucked up, you were within 100 feet to see how fucked up they were.
And almost like Vietnam, you said it was a ghost chase.
You never knew where they were. Yeah. But all that stuff, like, plays into the mental game of, like, where I'm in my headspace now.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, though, so, like, after Brentwood or whatever, like, I continued on with therapy. I did like a 3-year stint of therapy, one to learn coping and to, like, checks and balances with myself, so I don't fly off the handle or whatever.
Absolutely.
But then, like, as well, on this topic of mental health, I remember, like, being little, and my grandpa and my dad both had, like, anger issues growing up. But, like, I remember my dad punching a hole through the wall. Like, would never hit my mom or anything like that, but, like, would get mad and punch a hole in the wall or whatever. Broke his hand one time, like, all kinds of stuff along those lines.
Right.
But then I remember, like, my grandpa, anytime he would get mad, frustrated, annoyed, he'd go, ugh, and, like, curl his tongue and, like, make the fist and noise and everything. And I find myself, when I get frustrated now, or, like, annoyed, or, like, like, come on, hurry up, like, do this, I'm like, like, I get that. And I, like, that's from a young age, you know what I mean? Like,
you've done it to me a couple of times.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think people realize that, like, how much, like, they say, like, if your kid isn't acting right by, like, age 4 or 5, like, might as well throw it in the trash. Trouble. Don't throw your baby away. But
there's a bad moon on the rise, and that's a quote from CCR. Shout out to.
But I was gonna say, like, I took the time to get the mental clarity checks and balances or whatever, like, that they didn't show you in school or whatever.
Does it work for you like it works for me? Like, if you talk more about your issue out loud, if you personify it.
Yeah, like, I didn't really necessarily talk about like, the 2 times that I, like, tried to end my life or whatever, before the podcast. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you ever knew any of that before the podcast.
No.
But I don't talk about it too much. But I think that, like, putting it out there may help somebody, and I think that's part of
no.
Does
it help you?
But yeah, I think it does help me. Especially, like, I mean, those moments don't go away 100%. There's days or whatever where you're just like, man, I could, like, veer my car off and whatever. I still get those thoughts from time to time, but I think talking, like, just getting comfortable with talking, and to have a close group of friends like yourself or whoever that you can come to whenever you're feeling down or off or in a weird
to lean on a little bit. The biggest thing for me before I met you and before I became tight with a lot of like the Boredom Brothers guys, which we've talked about on the show, actually, preface this with episode 74, I think, Zach Berenson part 2. Check it out, guys, if you're watching this one and you haven't watched that one yet. But before I got tight with like all the Boredom Brothers, and before I met you, and before I met Chris, like before I met all the people that mattered to me the most, I'll be honest with you, man, the thing that got me through a lot of my dark times, healthy and unhealthy. The unhealthy was honestly alcohol. Got me through a lot of dark times. You get to, shaking, and you get so mad and frustrated. And then you're thinking about like whatever it is that makes you mad or sad or frustrated or whatever. And then boom, hit the bottle, boom, numb the pain. It's like a quick shot of penicillin, fix it right now just so I can fucking go to sleep.
Right.
That was one coping mechanism. Obviously not a healthy
one. Did you
one.
ever put a cigarette out on yourself or anything
100%.
just to
100%.
almost just to feel alive in a way?
Yeah, I still have a scar.
Yeah, I still got one on the back of my hand. But or I don't like blood, so I would
Oh, it's this one.
I would take a little knife or whatever to my wrist or something to where I could push it against it, not see it, not my wrist, but my palm. I wasn't trying to kill myself, but I was trying to feel just something.
And yeah, so basically that in a nutshell. But yeah, so booze was a good distractor. But also it didn't make me the nicest person because again, I'm susceptible to sadness, anger, anxiety, etc.
And nobody's in a good mood after a hangover the next day.
Physical fitness, honest to God, is my church. It saved my life. And I carry that with me from the military. That's the one thing that the military does give you that is a positive antidote to a lot of bad things that are happening in your life. And I'm telling you, if you were in the military and you've had some rough shit hit you, and you're fat, you're a slob, you're just a fucking piece of garbage, you've dropped all, you put on all this weight, dropped all the muscle from the military, whatever it is, whatever your story is, get out there, get after it, go start getting back into a physical fitness routine. And if you're not from the military and you've got some fucking mental ailment, give physical fitness a try, man, because I'm telling you, all that angst and anger that you feel, that sadness, when you go grind it on the fucking pavement, when you pour your heart and soul through your feet into the hot pavement, and you feel that hot pavement pour its fucking anger into your feet, and it's just you in the road, or you in the weights, or you in the fucking bike, or whatever it is you want to do, you in the rocks, if you're a rock climber, whatever. If you pour your heart and soul into that, and in that moment of your angst and anger and all that bullshit, if you pour all that into this, A, you're going to get some dope-ass results.
Right.
B, you're going to feel better. I promise you. They're the endorphins you get after a fucking grind sesh.
I was going to say,
monumental.
Working out is definitely
a huge
game changer. And I started, getting into fitness and stuff right about the time we started the podcast. And it's been a game changer. But I also want to say, even sauna or steam rooms, some days when I close, I still go in early. So I'll work from 8 to 8, a 12-hour shift. And some of those days, I'm just not having it. Something will piss me off there at work or whatever.
Yeah.
Thankfully, old Be Fit East has a steam room, and it's
represent Be Fit East.
Right, and it's minutes away from my work, so I can go there and steam for 30 minutes, get out, take a shower, go back to work, and it's a day changer.
The way that you just came at me with that bullshit, not that it's bullshit, the way that you came at me with that, though, what do you think about meditation? Because really, honestly, a sauna session is a lot like meditation.
Yeah, and I think...
Have you ever tried meditation?
So, funny story, I got fired once because of meditation.
No comment.
I was waiting on one. So I
got nothing funny right now.
I was trying to get into meditation, and my mind's always wired. So I'd sit there, and sit there with my eyes closed, and I try to just quiet my mind, kind of like what you do in a sensory deprivation tank. And it would be so hard, I'm thinking about something, this, thinking about that, thinking about anything really, whatever pops in my mind, and then I'm oh wait, no,
right,
and then back to thinking about whatever. So then I learned that YouTube has these guided meditations.
Oh shit.
And you can just close your eyes and put your headphones in and listen to this person talk to you, and noises rainforest or whatever.
Somebody
and
fucks your ear with their positive
and their words or whatever.
Can I be honest with you? I hate meditation for two reasons, and two reasons alone. Two, don't tell me how the fuck I'm going to feel. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm still that way. Like I'll harness it. I'll figure it out. Leave me the fuck alone. Secondly, why are you so calm? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Why are you so calm? There's people dying in China right now.
How do you feel about
what I mean?
people that do yoga and they hit those certain positions and it just makes them cry?
If that's for you, man.
Could you imagine like if you went and did yoga and you did a certain pose and then like you just released a muscle that had like all the sorrow that you had from Afghanistan and you started pissing like tears out of your eyes and
do they stretch your dick out in yoga?
I don't know.
That's where a lot of my sadness is.
But I was going to say, I put in one of these guided meditations on my cell phone, and that was back before AirPods, so I had a cord plugged in.
I'm going to put these back on just in case I start crying.
Yeah. And I was laying there, eyes closed, listening to this guided meditation, and I fell asleep. And the headphones played all night, drained my phone battery, and it died in the middle of the night.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that.
Missed my alarm clock, got it on the charger when I woke up the next day. I was like 4 hours late for work. And I didn't drink at all, didn't smoke at all the night before. And I felt like I had the worst hangover of my entire life. And like I left there and went to my mom and then we're in town. And I went there and my mom was like, you look fucked up. Like, what did you do last night? And I was like, I meditated.
I was just hanging out with Jesus.
But like some people say like when you fall asleep during meditated, your mind's still in that state. So it's still like listening and everything like that. And it was just like a deep meditation, like whatever.
I get it, man. Like, I can't be alone with my thoughts.
Yeah, neither can I. But I've been working on it. Like in long car drives, I turn the radio off and I don't listen to music. And I just force myself to deal with that.
That's BDE, dude. That's that fucking big dick energy.
But then I also...
That's that fucking a mental, emotional big dick energy,
But then I find times where like I can't take it. So I'll call family or I'll call, you know what I mean? Or like I use that time to catch up or to communicate with friends and family instead of music. I feel like music is always there. Yeah. I mean, yeah, a new album or whatever will come out, but you can listen to it once. And then like you don't have to listen to something all day, every day. Like that's why I listen to audiobooks. That's why I listen to YouTube. That's why that's why I'm like constantly trying to input knowledge because that knowledge, I mean, yeah, it'll always be there, but like I'm not taking it in as much as people are just taking in boats and hoes. And, my girl left me and took my dog and my tractor.
That wasn't a real song, by the way, Boats and Hoes.
I'm pretty sure it is. You can buy it on iTunes. So,
oh, can you?
Yeah.
That's intriguing. I'm glad you made me laugh because I was really getting on the fringe there for a little bit. I don't enjoy crying, for the record, just so everybody knows. I think I've cried in front of my wife like 4 times my whole life. The whole 7 years. He's going back.
I only took him off because you took him off, so I felt like I had to keep it up. And then like we were talking about something serious. So I
started talking about Loaiza, and
I wanted you to see my eyes. I was like, maybe if he sees my eyes,
dude. What if I cry? I can't cry on fucking podcasts.
Pull out a Ryan Gosling and write you a little notebook, dude. Speaking of that, remember how I was talking about how I don't do well with blood and I pass out and sometimes have a seizure. We were talking about
what the fuck.
So we were talking about dude, remember I had to take a health class from the nurse's office and everything. So like we were talking with Alex Morgan about his knee replacement, and I felt real lightheaded, and I thought I was gonna pass out in that episode. And I just stayed in my seat. I was like, "Yo, if I pass out on air, it'll be fucking dope." Yeah, but I was like, it'd be kind of funny for the footage or whatever, and just me falling out in frame. But and I think there was another time, but I don't recall it. But I just wanted to throw that out there as
like Uncle Bernie it up.
It's like a little insider
with
tip,
those shades on, dude. You pull off a nice Uncle Bernie.
Thanks, man. Les Ryan.
Have you ever seen the movie Uncle Bernie?
I don't know.
Uncle Bernie, Weekend at Uncle Bernie's.
I've heard of it, but I don't.
It's like a dude dies. I can't remember the name of the 2 actors. They were famous in the 80s and the 90s, but these 2 guys basically go and visit this fucking old man in his $1 million mansion. I think they were trying to rob him. Dude dies, and they just like play it off as he's their Uncle Bernie.
Yeah. I think so. And they like wheel him around and like use his arm.
Put arms, like sticks on his arms, and he's like dancing around like a fucking... Yeah. And he always had the Ray-Bans on the whole movie, each movie. I think there's 2 or 3 of them. You do a nice Uncle Bernie.
Thanks. But I was going to say, what was some of the things that taught you after the military coping?
Yeah, coping for sure. We need to definitely touch on this, and this is actually a really good way to...
Which is how we talked about the gym and the sauna, doing that And eating healthy. Eating healthy makes a huge difference. Your gut health.
Oh yeah, people don't give the microbiome enough credit, but then also on top of that, the nutrients you get from a balanced diet, man, is like it makes a difference mentally. It does, it really does. Like the neurotransmitters and like all your like your potassium levels, they control. Like potassium is one of the elements that control what's allowed into your cell and what's allowed out of your cell. I forget what they're called, but they're like basically the messengers for the cell. And if you don't have enough potassium in your diet, your cells are malnourished. So like small things like that, magnesium, like these micronutrients that you get from a balanced diet, like if you just have a good balanced diet with all these micro and macronutrients that you need, it'll change your mind.
And less sugar, more fat.
Yeah, it'll actually change how your mind functions. Like it will suck. You're going to go through an amount of withdrawal.
What it is basically taking regular gas, 87 octane, and putting it in your car. And you put it in your car every single fucking day. And then you start putting 93 in it. It's going to burn a little rough in the beginning. But because of that higher heat and everything, it's burning out that engine buildup from that lower grade fuel. And eventually you run it on that octane for a period of time. You know what I mean? You get a cleaner, better running engine.
For sure. But yeah, man, I would say like the topics we covered before as far as coping goes, like physical fitness is a huge thing for me. Diet can be hit and miss for me. Like I'll cheat once a week. Like once a week I eat something that's god awful for me. But 6 days out of the week it's beef and rice for lunch. I fast all morning, beef and rice for lunch, and then I eat, whatever it is we're cooking here at the house, whether it's chicken, but it's a homemade meal.
Right.
So, it varies, obviously. I don't have like a set dinner. But after my dinner, like if I'm still hungry right before I go to bed, like the dirtiest snack I'll have, like I've had Oreos, don't get me wrong. But like a dirty snack for me, right? Pre-bed snack is like oat brand, like Raisin Bran cereal,
which
like
isn't bad.
Yeah, it's like it's actually good for you. So like yeah, and honestly, like it does. I pay tribute to that to a little bit. Physical fitness, and like you were saying earlier, like the meditation is a big one for a lot of folks that can get into it. I can't, just for the record, but I've tried. If you've explored all those options and none of those are helping you, I would say do your due diligence, give it a set amount of time, give it 3 months. If you don't feel better in 3 months, then okay, another option.
Therapy is a good option.
What's
for some people.
What's plaguing you, right? So that's a big thing. Like coming to terms with what it is that is illing you in your mind, what has set seed in your brain and is not letting you think or function normally. Like for me is the death of my 2 buddies here, especially the one, Mr. Loaiza.
Yeah, I won't say mine.
But like whatever plagues you, it's coming to terms with that, coming to terms with it, recognize it, bring it into the open. And when you bring it into the open, the best way to do that is just to have conversations about it. And if that's with the people you care about, even better. But a therapist will work as well. Like go see some therapists. And not every therapist is right for you.
Right. If you don't like a certain therapist, maybe try a different one.
Try a new one. Don't give up. Because I've gone through 3.
One thing I think is mortality. Mortality gets me thinking about.
Oh, really?
Either what's next, but also nobody's going to remember you 4 generations from now.
That's not true. Not if this podcast takes off.
Well, yeah, maybe. But I'm just saying, and even then, 5 generations from then, unless the world ends and somebody finds a hard drive with our podcast.
Maybe still, if they have a USB drive.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm just saying, like.
You think aliens have USB?
No, I don't think they need USB. They probably just like tap your laptop and get all your data.
They got like telemetry, dude, or not telemetry, but telekinesis.
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah, man. So like that's my last and final ditch effort. I think was for me, and I think that's the one that helped me the most was just like talking to people openly and honestly about everything that I experienced. Almost dying in Afghanistan, the gunfighting, the just extraneous amounts of effort and will that it took to go day in and day out 3 times a day into gunfights. You've seen the Jake New episode, and if you haven't, I highly suggest you check it out. He'll back up everything that I'm saying, so I'm not full of shit. But like, yeah, like making it through all that shit is rough, man. A lot of my buddies have offed themselves post Army, post deployment because of how difficult it is to deal with. And if you don't get it out, a famous saying that I said during the episode. A buddy of mine who was a heroin addict, he got addicted to heroin more so in Afghanistan than ever. He told me once, as he was getting negatively discharged out of the army, he said, you can drown your demons so long before that you can only drown your demons so long before they learn how to swim. And it's like that's the mental battle. Is like
staying afloat, just treading water.
How are you going to drown your demons? And then no, that's not the solution. The solution is yank that motherfucker out of the water and beat his fucking ass. Acknowledge the demon and talk to him. Yeah, talk to people about it. Yeah. I think that's the way to combat it, is just to bring it out in the open, deal with it physically, through nutrition, through
and as well
therapy.
Learn about dopamine and dopamine fasting, or other different ways. Like Saraguru or other people like in other parts of the world, they believe in like digging holes and like putting your feet in it and covering it back up with the dirt and just do that for like 20-30 minutes, and it's like grounding. Like basically just to sit there with your feet in the ground and just think.
What are you turning yourself?
Like a form of meditation or whatever.
Turn yourself into a tree.
Yeah, I guess essentially. But like I'm just saying, there's all kinds of things out there that you can try.
Yeah, and don't rely on substance. I know I made a poke at that earlier, but really, honestly, a lot of my buddies, all my buddies that have off themselves after our deployment, they were all drinkers.
Yeah,
it does not help. Drugs do not help. They do not help. You need to be.
It's a crutch.
You need to be stone cold sober.
It's an injury, and you're using a substance as a crutch.
Yeah,
and you have Alex Morgan had surgery, hip replacement, had crutches and a cane.
Yep.
If he would have continued to use that crutch and cane forever, it never would have healed to be better than what it was, which is what bones do when they break. I mean, he had a hip replacement, not a bone break, but you get the drift.
Yeah, man, it's rough out there. And like, I mean, combat's a bad one, but like, there's
life's a battle.
Rape. There's all kinds of these terrible fucking things that can happen to an individual that will change the course of your life.
And I also want to get a cop on the show. So if anybody knows a cop, I would love to have a cop on the show, because cops see day-to-day combat.
Oh, yeah.
And they're in it for years. And I mean, a lot of people, like, sometimes when I think about a cop, I think about just somebody sitting in a car. And I think they sit in the car for an extended time. But it's not really like that.
Well, they do.
Yeah, some do. But then there's others that, like Evansville SWAT, they get called on more calls than what we think.
We're speculating. Yeah. I shouldn't have said what I just said. We're speculating. I'm speculating. But yeah, a lot of the times you see a cop and he's cruising.
But I think it'd be interesting to have you and a cop talk about different scenarios and how maybe the military would have treated it versus the police, or vice versa. But that's a whole different topic. Basically, it boils down to,
if you know a cop, hit us up.
Yeah.
And tell him we want to have him on. We won't disclose any of his information, badge information, et cetera, et cetera. We'll keep it as anonymous as possible. But yeah, we want a cop on. That being said, yeah, man, a lot of what they go through, I've seen interviews of like dudes from like forces, different police forces, federal, local, municipality, whatever, state. They all say the same thing. I mean, it's a lot of them are veterans, so they have the experience. But like, yeah, it's pretty synonymous. Right. It's pretty close to the same. But treatment would be what I would really be intrigued about.
Right. Yeah. But I was just gonna say, back on wrapping up. If you're battling mental demons, one, find a solid friend group that's going to pour into you. Two, learn about dopamine and how social media isn't the greatest for you. You know what I mean? Take a break from it. Go connect with the outside nature. We weren't built to be indoor creatures. Our body's meant to be outside. It's meant to move this weight around. It's meant to go out and hunt down food. It's meant to it's meant to put in work in order to get something. We've grown into this luxury, whatever, and that causes a lot of our issues. So to be active and to focus on your mentality and your friend group, get friends that are pouring back into you, and seek help if you can't find it. And I'll let you touch
most mentally, or most importantly, because we started this as masculine mental health, men's mental health. Give your dudes a hug, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, give his dick a good mouth hug.
God, I can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah. Give your bros hugs.
Just for Robert Compton, episode 68. You go or 67. Go back and listen to Robert Compton. He talks about just like hugging dudes for no reason.
Right.
Like, dude, he doesn't even know him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Give your bros a hug. Tell your check in on your bros, man, and don't put that stigma on them of like, oh, don't be a fucking. You know what I mean? Like, no. Like, hey, what's up, bro? How you doing today? I'm all right.
Right.
Well, what's going on? If he says he's all right, something's going on.
Right.
You asked me how I was doing today. I was like, I'm good. Been productive. It's been a big day.
Right.
Give your bros a hug, dude. So, do you want to do a shot? Let's do a bro shot.
We'll do. Yeah,
Let's do a bro shot.
Fine,
Come on, dude. Quit fucking around, dude.
But
just a baby one.
Yeah, no,
just a little
that's
baby
all good.
shooter.
But basically, we're gonna have links in the description to like suicide hotline and other places that you can seek help.
Yeah, man, dude, and give your bros a hug. I can't emphasize that enough, man. Go easy on your guys out there, dude. Take care of them. Take care of yourself. Yeah, dude, it's a big deal.
Life gets hard, but Charlie Mike.
Life gets hard.
Charlie Michael Day.
Life gets hard, and so do I. So you can't unknow that now. So cheers, sir. Cheers to mental health.
Shalom.
I love you guys so much. This has been another thrilling episode of the Days Grimm. My name is Brian Michael Day.
My name is Thomas Grimm the Third.
Thanks for joining us. Like, share, subscribe. Goodbye.
I thought it'd be funny one episode to have like a box next to me of a bunch of different shirts, and then like when you're talking, change shirts, and then like when I start talking, I'm in a completely different shirt, and then like somebody else starts talking, hurry up and change shirts again real fast. That way, every cut I got a different shirt on.
Hey guys, if you liked what you heard today, there will be a new episode next Tuesday, as well as every Tuesday at 6 a.m. So hit that subscribe button and let your phone do all the work for you.
Being said, and I'd have no shirt on, I'd be like,
Yeah, man. So that's how my mom got AIDS.
oh, your mom got AIDS? Well, I'm like shirtless. I'm like,
God damn it.
I got a polo, half on, half off.
Yeah. Oh, your mom had AIDS too?
I'm wearing a bra.
Seriously, I love you very much.
Love you long time.
I think that was fair.
Yeah.